for joining us today to learn and engage in our deep dive discussions that we're doing. So something that I and the team have noticed recently is we have a pretty diverse audience out there, which is really great to see. And I was just curious where people are joining from in your part of the world, and the domain or industry you're in. If you're a student, feel free to type that in the chat. We're just curious to see where you're all joining from today.
And if you are on YouTube or LinkedIn, please feel free to type in that chat.
Sure, and we'll propagate it over. So it looks like we reach most corners of the world. But I'm curious to see where today's audience are coming from. Nigeria, great. India from YouTube. And if you're comfortable sharing your domain or industry that you work in, or if you're a student at the moment. Telecom, okay, great. Yeah, I think we've had a few people in that area actually. For those who are just joining us now, we're just sharing where we're coming, which part of the world we're coming from today. We would notice that we have a pretty diverse audience out there, as we've been doing these kind of deep dive sessions, and we were just curious which part of the world you're from, that you're joining from us today, and the industry that you're in, or the domain, or if you're a student. We'd be happy to learn about, our audience and where they're coming from. Egypt, we're going from Egypt. It's awesome. Oh, from Cairo, yeah. Junior data scientist. Welcome, welcome. You're in good company. All right, well, feel free to type it in the chat, and we'll keep a eye out on. It's good to get a little bit familiar with you guys, touch base with you, connect with you a bit more, be a bit more interactive with you. So thank you for sharing that. That's really awesome to see. So as you know, we're doing these deep dive sessions, and this is another one that we've got planned for today. So last time we discussed, evaluating and testing out, say, a new model swap or some other kind of important change that could lead to, potential performance issues before you go live. And today we're going to dive into skills. So skills is kind of like standardizing how AI agents go about certain work, so that you spend less time kind of recreating the same type of, workflows, and you can also have a more kind of consistent approach to work with more consistent results across your team. So today's discussion is actually part of a series of deep dives that will teach you all the ways on how to properly approach implementing and deploying AI at enterprise scale and have it actually work in the real world. So there's an approach I like to follow both in my work life, but also my personal life. If I can build it just once and then use it almost everywhere, then I'm going to do that to save my time and probably my sanity. And so building a skill or a skill file, which is kind of like reusable instructions for a particular task or a type of specialized work, such as reviewing certain work, or types of documents and things like that. is basically, taking the approach of build it once and use it everywhere you need to use it within your teams. So skill files, these reusable instructions that apply to certain types of work are also can be also more efficient than having everybody in the team, build their own kind of spin-off version of like a million similar agents doing similar sort of tasks, paying the cost of all these agents to do very similar things. So with skills, you're not bloating the hell out of your context window as well. You're not eating up those tokens by having every conversation start from scratch and loading in everything, but rather loading in only what's relevant and necessary. And then there's just, inconsistent results of work that could lead to quality of work. So that gives you a little bit of background on some skills. So Raja, you have a lot of experience building reusable skills, not only within your own, company environment for Agento, but also helping, enterprises better leverage skills for certain tasks and workflows across teams. So I guess my question is, why is inconsistency across teams in their approach to similar tasks and, the output of those tasks, why could that be a real business risk that we ought to pay more attention to?
Yeah. I think it would be, hey everyone, thanks, Rebecca. Before we get started, I think it would be helpful if we could give more of a anthropomorphic view or more of a human view of an AI agent. So all of us, when we do some work, there is some knowledge work, right? So there is one aspect, which is the knowledge aspect of things, and one is the skill aspect of it, right? So, well, how a table is created, I know that how I would make a table, but not it does not make me a excuse me, it does not make me a master uh, craftsperson or a master uh, you know uh, a woodworker. Um, I have to have that skill. I know that the tools that might be needed, but how do I put those tools together? Um, and traditionally, the way we have handled this challenge is, well, prompting is what we do. We tell our assistant AI agent, or at the core, the large language model that is doing all the thinking work. We um, we tell it in a very structured fashion. Just grab that chisel and grab that screwdriver, grab that mallet, or grab that hammer, um, and go and hammer here or chisel the wood here. So there is, and that is the skill part. And now, what if I want to have if I want to have in my agent? There's a few different things that I need to do. Um, uh, Possibly, if we have time, I will show you one demo of skills on our platform called Agento. For those of you who are joining for the first time, we have an AI agentic AI platform, and skills is at the center of it. Uh, if you are a paralegal assistant, uh, you should have the knowledge of the general law, maybe the country, the state, the jurisdiction that you are in. In addition to that, you should have the skill of being able to write a Word document or maybe creating a PDF, or you should have a redlining skill. You should have any skill that, for that matter, that is needed to make your job easier. Um, so prior to this paradigm, what we call skills now, we would give humongous, huge collection of prompts to our agents, and all the prompts will get loaded in the context window at the same time. So the LLM, even if I need a mallet, I need to know how to use a mallet, but I'm also I also have the instructions how to use chisel on certain kind of wood, right? So, and now it creates confusion for large language models, one, confusion. And of course, it also, the skills that are not needed for a task at hand, you still have them in the context window. Um, as a result, what ended up happening is that industry, the agentic AI industry, if that is an industry, right? So AI, agentic AI, large language models, whatever you may want to call it. Anthropic introduced this notion of skills where um, you define a bunch of skills. For instance, in order for me to be able to be a paralegal, I should have the skill of being able to read any kind of input documents, could be text, could be PDF, could be Word documents. But I should also have some knowledge of law and or some rules in certain jurisdictions, some cities, some states, some county. But I also should be able to write documents in Word format. I should also be able to redline and how we enable revisions in my document. Um, so what I would do is I will first take a human-centric view of things. What are the skills needed for me to be able to accomplish this task? I will go through those skills. And for a moment, we'll talk about how to create skills in just a bit. But you go ahead and create those skills as separate units of work or a separate unit of, well, skills. And um, your agent or your AI unit of work, your AI agent, I think it's a term that all of us understand. It goes and summons that skill when it is needed. So if you do not need a skill, you are not going to bloat the context window. You're not going to do unnecessary work. You're not going to confuse, the agent is not going to get confused. And you will only load the skill that is needed at that point in time. Um, Sometimes I jokingly say that skills are glorified prompts or more organized prompts. Skills are not necessarily prompts only. They can have coding scripts, they can have other details as well. But for now, you can think of them as, well, glorified prompts. But they are more organized, they are more structured. Now, Rebecca, coming back to your question, why is there a disconnect within an organization, right? So different why would you need to standardize skills? So in every company, for those of us who have worked even for a few months, fresh out of college, you come in and you say, "Hey, is that how people work?" I mean, so I can't believe that how inefficient this is, right? Or you're taken aback, your first job, remember from there, and then if you're experienced, you have your own fair share of stories, right? Um, you know, Maybe I can share that story, one story like this. Back in the day, my first company out of college, Microsoft, and uh, two different teams, big organizations, like on both sides, thousands of people, huge organizations. And now both teams, the same thing was called, they had two different names in two different teams. And this will often create confusion that I'm just making it up, event ID and ID, for instance, right? And event ID is something else in one team, but this team calls event ID this team calls ID. So that kind of confusion, that kind of standardization, so for anyone who has worked, I mean, those kind of things are not new. How are things done? There are some people who know how to do things, who how to do certain things in the most efficient manner possible, while someone else. So, for instance, right? So, if I need to fetch some specific type of data, some specific data, there is a data store for that, but only a few people know that, and some other people are writing complex queries, complex joins. So, this is that classic disconnect between um, uh, disconnect in documentation of processes and documentation of playbooks. Having skills centralized as an organization what it allows is that the entire organization, I don't think this it's easy at the scale of a company like Microsoft or Amazon or Google, but for a smaller company, let's call it a smaller org of a few dozen people to 100 people, some unit of um, organization or some group of people, um, you can have a central repository of, well, what is the template when we write proposals? What is the template for a proposal? And what is the template for a slide deck? And what is the template for responding to a customer email? How do you respond to an angry customer email? And when you do it, you standardize it and you make those skills. Everyone knows that these skills, think of skills as operational process documentation or your operation playbooks, but for agentic workforce. These agents, they can fetch in those skills on demand as needed. So, and then your job as a leader in that organization is to standardize first, um, standardize the processes. If humans cannot follow, agents cannot follow the process. Let's also, this outlandish claims that we see out there. Um, they are good to hear. But for any organization, if they want to be an AI first organization, you first have to fix your processes. You fix your playbooks, and you have to fix your how do you do things, and make sure that they are documented. And once you have those processes documented, then you actually convert them to skills and standardize and publish them. And you can imagine any unit of work, you can skillify that unit of work.
Right. And I think you mentioned skills are a little bit like glorified prompts in a way. I was just curious to see how a skill might be different just from writing a very thorough prompt and why you'd want to go maybe create a skill rather than just writing a very thorough prompt or
Yeah, I mean, you can write a thorough prompt, and a skill is essentially a thorough prompt, but but skill may be all encompassing. A skill can be a more exhaustive view of things, and a
mm,
skill is also you for an agent to perform certain tasks. You may need 10 different skills. Um, if I have a, let's say if I create a marketing manager, the marketing manager should have good writing skills, should have basic marketing skill. Maybe the marketing manager, if it is a general purpose marketing manager, I mean, social media post writing skill, not just writing skill, social media post writing skill. Uh, so if you combine all of them into a single prompt, the problem is AI works better, or this is by design. I don't know if I should be calling it a problem. This is a limitation. AI works better when it is the more focused it is, the more task specific the your AI is, the better it is going to perform. So if you load all of these 10 different types of prompts at the same time, it is very likely that it will create some confusion, there's a chance of hallucination, something may go wrong. And also you're burning more tokens because the tokens, whether you use them or not, they are there. They are, and then likely you're paying more, possibly more latency and possibly hallucination. But when you organize these things, still call them prompts, in form of skills, there is, maybe I will go into the technical detail side of it. Each skill has a description and a title, and and then what is the skill, like a long form instructions there. So the way when you use a skills framework within Agent, your skills actually get loaded. Your descriptions are there in the context window at all times, and you only fetch in the description or the instructions when it is needed. So there is some decision-making process that happens under the hood, and those skills are only fetched when they're needed. So possibly if my paralegal did not need to create a Word document, that skill is never going to be loaded. Even though it was there for reference, it never gets loaded. So I would say that it is a better organized prompt and associated assets. So I mean, there's more to skill than just prompts. But for beginners, I would say, think of it as more organized prompts.
For sure. And from my understanding, there can be, skills that are sort of more general, for like maybe general email writing or general blog writing or things like that. But skills can also be quite specialized and customized, and encode maybe even some tribal specialized knowledge. Would you have like an example of when a company might have this kind of very highly specialized skill? I
Mhm.
think from one example I could think of was like, I think there was an engineering company working on circuit breakers and they had very specific standards that they had to follow and a skill was tailored
Mhm.
around that. Or another example of like where a skill can be like very like honed in and specialized.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, let's try to understand, right? So one may argue, well, doesn't an LLM know the law in a specific state or a city or a jurisdiction? Yes, LLMs do know about it, right? But think about this: that the LLMs, they know the law here, but they also know law from many other countries, many other cities, and all of that, right? So
Right.
this is a very broad body of knowledge, but then you actually now you bring it, narrow it down. Think of this as a funnel, a pyramid, whichever way you want to look at it. But then go to a specific industry now. Um, the, a technical document in oil and gas might not be the same, written in the same manner, a technical document that is written in, um, let's say, healthcare or pharma or biotech. Um, and you can use your imagination to, narrow
Mhm.
it down. Then, if I'm talking about, let's say, oil and gas in a specific geography, and then oil and gas, a very specific part of it, right? So, is it more oil and gas on the distribution side, or oil and gas on when you're working on a rig, or the accounting and supply chain side? And now, as you start narrowing it down, starting from the general, all the knowledge in the world, to a specific industry, and within an industry, a specific vertical, or within an industry, a specific company. This oil and gas company and that oil and gas company, this processes may be similar, but not identical. As you keep going down, it comes down to small teams. There are things that are going to be very, very specialized, which are, in general, they may be possible out there. They may or may not be public knowledge. Um, but it is, they are so specialized that you have to maintain that focus. And then eventually there are things that are specialized. I mean, these are very, very specialized processes that an LLM might not know. When a new order arrives, this is how we process the order. Or I was giving oil and gas example, right? So when if the the bit of the drill or the rig that is digging, if it goes blunt or if it breaks, what is the operational procedure, the standard operating procedure to actually replace the bit? So if you look at it, um, right now, um, these processes are documented, and whenever something happens, we have to open the manual, go through it, and then try to understand this. But what skills are doing is, um, think of this skills as the what playbooks and process outline was for humans, skills are for AI agents. And that's how it works. And in many cases, um, many things that you would mention in skills. They may be general knowledge, LLMs already know it, but when you mention these, the way LLMs work is when you emphasize on certain things, your focus and the results are better. In some cases, LLMs would never be able to tell you unless because, well, they don't know because this is very specialized. It is the data and the that particular set of steps is very, very specific to it is your intellectual property. The LLMs might not even know. And then you basically convert those processes and those playbooks into skills.
No, no, very interesting. I think that's, yeah, so it's a good way to explain the process. And I want to also move on to the discussion of how, maybe companies in the past would, train their junior staff over maybe, a few months for certain tasks versus now potentially using a skill that trains your AI agents and is encoded sort of just once. And maybe perhaps junior staff might to move into more, strategic work or other types of work nowadays. Would you be able to compare what the process is like and the experience of traditionally training a junior staff member tasked with, say, reviewing things, for example, to the process of setting up a skill? And
Yeah. Very similar, actually. Very, very
right.
similar. And maybe if I may, in some cases, it is easier to teach an AI agent than a human, actually, because an AI agent, once you have really codified the skills, once you have created that skill, an AI agent is not going to forget. Right? So with a human, oh, oops, does it also include this? But the AI agent, think of an AI agent as one of your exceptionally bright, brilliant junior employee, and then you have to tell them just once, and then they will logically extend and make connections with other things. So that's how we should be looking at this. So the parallel is that it is very, very similar. You give them a set of steps, you give them general idea, but AI agents are given the nature of how under the hood AI agents are using these models, and depending upon what kind of model you're using, if you're using one of the bigger, more powerful models, then it will actually extend and infer and do a lot more things that you did not even you tell it to begin with.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was also thinking like going back to specialized skills again. I mean, is it worthy just to maybe limit skills to very specialized tasks, or is it also worthy to just open the door to anything and everything should be skilled, or maybe certain things should not be skilled? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Mhm. Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I have to admit that I mean this is something that at least I am also trying to figure out. But my view is, as we speak, my view is that as in someone who understands the organization, some business leader, some domain expert, they have to understand what are the uh, let's call it the taxonomy of skills. What are what are the general skills that are needed? Um, Maybe my accounting folks have to work on the what are the skills that are needed. Think of that as a job description, right? So let's say I want to create an agentic AI workforce as opposed to a human workforce. Um, I will go and for a recruiter, for instance, or yeah, let's take the example of recruiter, right? So recruiter maybe resume screening skill, and possibly sending how to send reminders and emails, that skill, and perhaps an initial screening skill. Um, what else would a recruiter do? Maybe research, out just just going and seeking out on different in different places,
Maybe testing
finding the
different
right candidate,
platforms.
right? So every business leader, they have to maybe forget that you are working on agents, forget about it, right? So give a job description to
Mm.
if you were to hire a human what are the skills that may be needed. So in many ways, AI agents, I may have said this in one of the previous sessions as well. AI agents are going to force you to fix certain things that you have been delaying in your organization. Documentation, processes, there is a gap in documentation. An entire organization knows, but no one fixes. Whenever someone hits that roadblock, I will go and ask Rebecca, right? Because Rebecca knows it. But no one bothers that let's actually spend 30 minutes and have Rebecca document this so we don't have to go to Rebecca. So AI agents are going to fail if you don't have it, if you don't have it documented. Humans, they try to find workarounds. So same goes with skills. You will have to document that for every task that is happening, every unit of work that is happening in your organization, what are the set of skills that are needed. So think about it that are there going to be some common skills? Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Outlook, email, those skills they are universal skill in modern workforce. But reconciliation of your books, that's a specialized skill. You will still have it. So some kind of skills hierarchy that you create, some common denominator. Everyone should have these skills. Everyone in engineering should have these skills. But DevOps people will have these skills, and front end people will have these skills, and the database guys will have these skills. So come up with a taxonomy of these skills and then organize them. I mean, so I see that as no different from, well, you know, this is the same problem that should otherwise solve for human workforce. It is just that if you want to be AI first company, um, these are the things that you will have to confront. Without confronting this fixing these structural problems in how your company is operating, if you don't make those adjustments, it is unlikely that you will be able to actually you can become an AI first company, or you can adopt AI for your day-to-day work.
For sure. Raj, I was just thinking maybe you could use Agento to walk us through, say, a skill you set up. So you set up using, plain language, if it leverages any other relevant skills, and using the skill in action to show its capabilities of going about a task. And it just helps our audience see how, all this works in action, and get a better understanding of how skills work when you see someone sort of go through it and walk you through it.
Okay, let's do it. So this is one of the ways that you can consume Agento. So this is a default application. Agento is a platform. So you can build any application on top of Agento that you like. But I will show you this legal assistant. So this legal assistant, we have actually two customers actually using it actually for doing reviewing the drafts. Let me first show you what are some of the previous things that this has done. So I gave this agent, or this paralegal agent. I gave this paralegal agent an agreement. It's a longish agreement. I think 20 pages, if I'm not wrong, 26 pages. So there is pricing. There's pricing, and there is other terms, different exhibits and appendix, etc. And then I asked it, we are working with company A for a licensed product. Review the attached agreement, give me what I can accept as is, and what I should reject outright. And when I went ahead and asked it this question, it was able to what you can accept, what you should reject outright. And you can see now I can keep going and I can ask it a question. I can said redline this agreement. When I did redlining of this agreement, well, it went ahead and gave me a redlined agreement, which actually looks like this. So you see this, it is, and if I download this, let me actually download because this view does not render the red lines, but let me open the file and I am going to, so if you look at this, look
You
at
can
this, this is
enable
the
it.
customer red line.
Yeah.
Rebecca, can you see the screen?
Oh, yeah, I can. No, sorry.
Okay, so it says customized request, definition deleted, right? So it is redlining the agreement as you would, as a lawyer would do. And then you see this here, no DPA exists. Then customer counsel. So you see that it is redlining this on your behalf, and then basically it says that it has 13 track changes and uh, um, all of that, right? Now, uh, if you look at this, we go through this, and then it tells you what is the relative significance of each. Um, Maybe I can say what will change if we are a healthcare company. Review uh, for any risk and liabilities. Right? So internally, it will go. And if it was a healthcare company, probably now that I'm showing it, I would have created a healthcare legal analyst skill because if it is something that I use it very frequently, I better make sure that I have a very specialized skill that is available. But nevertheless, when I go and look at it, it actually did open the legal skill already. And it says critical healthcare specific risks, business associate agreement. If you look at this, if anyone works in healthcare, you know what that means. Or for that matter, BA is applicable in many other cases. Then HIPAA, it says HIPAA, there's a HIPAA risk there. And it gives me a few more things, MCP servers, uncontrolled private health information exposure, possibility, no data backup liability, unauthorized PHI, SSO credentials. So if you look at this, it is actually redlining, or not redlining yet. I'm actually asking it to just give me. And as a lawyer, um, we are not claiming that this will replace a lawyer. What we are claiming here is that a lawyer can actually speed up their work by, they can reduce their work by 70% or 80%. They still have to have a human judgment, right? It says this agreement as written is not suitable for a healthcare company. I can go ahead and ask it, go ahead and redline so we can send it back. And it will just go ahead and do that. Okay. So once again, let's see what skills it actually brings in. I think it will show, I don't know, we have some skills that are default. So let's see docx skill. So it is fetching a skill for Word document. So because I asked it to create a red line, all of this. So whatever changes whatever feedback it has, now it is actually putting together in the form of that Word document. Let me just, once it finishes, I will actually go back and show you because we have a skill builder as well. And certain skills are going to be easy to build. Certain skills will require domain understanding. Let's say if you are, I saw someone is a specialist in anesthesiologist. I saw someone mention that they are anesthesia specialist, right? If I do not know anything about anesthesia, now if I I don't know what kind of skill. Let's say maybe an anesthesiologist skill if you want to create it. An anesthesiologist in a cardiac surgery setting, or anesthesiologist in maybe a more of a labor, or what do we call it? OBGYN type scenario, right? Obstetrics type scenario. So you can actually go and create those skills, and I will show you. This is right now redlining the documents. While this redlines, I can show you that we have these skills, and these skills are, you can see that we have the legal skill. I did not use any other skills here. We have a few other skills, but in this case, we are only using the legal skill. Okay. Or and docx skill. So there are some skills that are what we internally call system skills. We don't expose them because they are the ones that may be needed. Uh, and let's see, the process is tedious, of course, many back and forth steps that it takes. And I will give it maybe another 30 seconds.
I just had a question, sorry, come up.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Once a skill is kind of uploaded and in place, it could definitely be updated over time as companies, standards change or needs change and things like that, right?
Yes, they can be changed. You can definitely change. It's almost like that you can tell the skill to be modified if your agent makes a mistake, then you
Mm,
can give feedback to correct that step or that process. So that shouldn't be a problem.
for sure. What would be like, how much of this is attributed to the skill versus maybe the underlying model's capability, um,
Mhm.
in how it successfully gets this task done? Or
It is both actually, right? So,
Mm,
if you look at it, going back to my example, um, if you hand the same playbook to two different
mm,
individuals, some people are natural problem solvers. They are well prepared. They know a lot already. They are good, smart, talented, and some people are simply not that kind of person, right? So similarly, using a better model, of course, it will cost you more, but at the end of the day, it will cost you more. But at the end of the day, the same set of skills will work better with certain models, some more advanced models, models that have better reasoning, um, as opposed to if you use the same skill with a very primitive model, it is not going to work well. So this is you see that I have this healthcare redlined. And Rebecca, if you have a follow-up question, happy to answer, but I want to, since this is ready. So
oh
I
no,
have
sure.
this
That was it.
same agreement, healthcare redline, and I will go. And it gave this feedback. MCP servers may store, transmit PHI as structured context data. Company A's blanket disclaimer of all MCP server liability means, uh, you know, um, I don't want to turn this into a lesson in healthcare legal aspect of things, but you can see that there is accept or reject, and it is giving me a redline version of the document. So um, I can, and the same skill, I used it differently. But we also have a skill builder. I can go and ask it, uh, what kind of skill, Rebecca? Have any thoughts?
Would it be like a
What
marketing skill
skill?
that could help?
What was it?
Do you want to test out a marketing skill, or do you want to keep in the
Marketing
legal,
skill, something, yeah, marketing, anything.
create a one-page marketing brochure,
Yeah,
using Agento
yeah,
documentation or
create
something?
a skill for an experienced graphic designer to create marketing brochures. And yeah, maybe this should be good. So now, so this is our skill building agent. And whenever we are faced with a new problem, we go and refer to our skill builder, ask it to, well, can you help us build this skill? Because I don't know much about it. If I understand the domain, I will give more instructions. I work in healthcare, use this color, this is our brand guide. Don't use red, or you don't use green, or those kind of things.
Mhm.
Okay, so it is saying, could you switch to thinking mode and ask me again? So it is saying that I need more thinking power. So I have switched to thinking mode. I have switched to thinking mode. Now it will go ahead. It said that I need more, more horsepower. So give it, and it's asking me, who's this skill for? You personally or a team of designers? And is the assistant mode meant to produce a brochure, PDF, or draft file, right? What brochure types come out of it? Okay, this is for me. Produce PDFs for any type of brochure. If I make it more specialized, it might be better. Maybe any type, maybe PDFs for trifold. Let me just make it more specialized. Trifold brochures. What would you typically say when you want it? Okay, what would you? Okay, draft or trifold. Draft trifold for Agento AI. I will say using this website as a resource. Okay, HTTPS agento.ai. I will say something like this. So, so it will first ask me about, how would I come in and interact with it? And then now that I've done it, okay, two more quick ones. And content and style. Have you fixed a panel structure in mind? Front cover, back cover, any typography, color? Okay, I will let you decide. I will let you decide this for me. And now I will have a graphic designer. Okay. So now it is actually working on this skill. And the skill should be ready in a few moments. And then I will go back and enable this skill for my for the rest of my agents. Or any agent that I want to create, I will go back and enable this skill, and that's it. It will create nice trifold PDF trifold brochures for anything that I tell it. And yeah, this process may take a few minutes. Meanwhile, we can continue the discussion.
For sure. It's really fascinating to learn how to go about the process, at least. I see it firsthand, with a real example you shared as well with the legal skills and redlining. Um, and I think we are getting a little bit close to time here. I just wanted to give anybody an opportunity, of course, to like ask their questions. But Raja, in the meantime, did you want to make any final important points about, skills or any key takeaways?
Mhm. I think this is uh, really, the way I look at it, I may be a little biased because I use skills a lot these days. But uh, I think when you are given a problem in AI, I think the first thing that you have to do is really think about what kind of skills you would need. And really, anything that is repeatable, anything that you think might be needed again and again, make sure that you turn that into a skill and spend time on anytime you build an agent using a platform like Agento or Claude or OpenAI or Claude Code, really skills is going to be imperative, right? So go ahead and create the skills that you would need and then make those skills available to your agent. It's almost like if I give a more human centric view of things, it is the same idea as learning and development, right? If I want my workforce to be great at financial analysis, and if they don't have that skill, I will make sure that they go through some kind of learning and development exercise. The good thing is, in the case of humans, you have to have every human go through that exercise. But in this case, once you have created a skill, you can simply you can just bestow this skill upon an agent, and the same skill could be used by uh, any number of agents, 100, 500, 1,000 agents in your organization at the same time. Your job is to first identify the skills that you need and make sure that that skill is created very, very carefully. And once it is a solid skill, evangelize, distribute, disseminate that skill across your organization so everyone can use it. And that's how it works.
No, for sure. Well, I think that should wrap up for today. And we discussed many interesting points with skills. We went through like a paralegal example. We went through even a designer and sort of marketing skills example. But we have lots more to come. We're getting close to the end of the series, but you will see another deep dive session. Just follow our LinkedIn, our social media, and keep an eye out. And we look forward to the next one, engaging and learning further.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, everyone.
Take care, everyone.